All right, we'll go ahead and call the Becker City Council meeting for September 17th to order. If everyone will rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, has council had a chance to look over the meeting minutes from September 3rd?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, I will ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve minutes from September 3rd.
Second it.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any additional items for this evening's agenda?
Yes, I'd like to add a motion to add the 2019 Street and Trail Improvement Bid Award, item 9A, and remove the wastewater treatment facility security gate upgrade. That's 8A.
So add a 9 Charlie, strike an 8 Alpha.
Correct.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any discussion on those topics being added? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'll ask for an approval of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Guest and open forum. I've actually asked Jean Johnson to lead off our guest and open forum just to give us a quick summary of the barn removal for coming up in September 25th. I do, unfortunately. We all love to see you, though, so.
Well, let's see if I can get through this so that you don't notice the excitement in my voice.
Okay.
So after many, many years, we've been trying to raise money for a brand-new building out on the Cox property. What happened, and where is she? She's right there. I don't know if she remembers this, but I was at a meeting here, and I was talking to, she was asking questions, and she said, Northern Metal has a barn. And that's, I never thought of that. So we were able to get that barn donated by Northern Metal, is all we had to do was move it. So actually, it's been a year and a half since we moved it out of the way of construction. And someone donated the money to move the barn away from the construction site. The barn moving company let us store it for 15 months at no charge. And they are going to finish the final move on Wednesday. And hopefully nothing happens that we have to change the date again, because 3 times a charm. Anyway, after a lot of people, a lot of organizations, and she said to keep it quick, so I'm not going to name the list, but the barn move is going to happen 9:30 on Wednesday, and it's going to be moved, which I'm not sure who did this, but we had a real complicated route to get out of that property. And now from going out there last night, we have really smooth sailing part of the way. So I'm kind of being hopeful that the rest of the way to County Road 8 is going to be smoother sailing, but we'll see what happens. We will probably reach, pending road conditions, we would probably reach County Road 8 about 10:15, 10:30, and we will cross 10 at County Road 8. We will be going westbound in the westbound lane. We were going to go westbound in the eastbound, but that's been changed. So we will go to Edgewood, and the barn will then be going on Edgewood Street, and it'll go to where the tarred pedestrian path ends. And then it comes out to County Road 8. Then we're going to turn in and we're going to go right through that farmer's soybean field. And they gave us permission.
That was
So,
you, wasn't it?
it is us. And thank you, Johnsons, by the way.
Them really nice farmers.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, and then during our site prep, we've got a nice 40-foot pathway after the soybean field that'll take us to the barn site. The foundation is there. It's all been scored. Blocks are being laid tomorrow morning by volunteers. They're going to start about 8 o'clock. And that will put us a week away from the setting because the barn won't be set Wednesday night. It's actually going to be set Thursday during the day. So the barn movers will bring it, they'll park it there. We do have some things planned for that night, nothing real exciting. We'll have some things for kids. We'll have a loophole in there. We'll have a food truck there. We'll have some door prizes, and we'll have lots of information on donating, what the project's about. So I hope to see a lot of you there, because you will be called out if you're not. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, that's about it. Stay tuned on Facebook. We'll fine-tune the route and the times. Probably have up-to-the-minute changes for people to kind of follow the barn. We'll have 2 drones. We've got one drone that's going to operate on the south side of 10, and another drone that's going to take care of the north side of 10. We're working with Boyd Hubert from Channel 11. I haven't really finalized anything yet, but I think they're going to be coming out and maybe in the future have a story on it. So that's pretty exciting. Hopefully we're going to have local coverage, and hopefully everybody's putting on Facebook, oh, look at the barn. But anyway, so that's my quick story. Does anybody have any questions?
I think where can the pedestrians watch from? Because you want them out of your way, obviously.
Highway 10.
Yes. I could offer a soybean field, but I think we're already doing enough damage. Maybe actually on the park trail or the pedestrian path there would be safe. We'll have traffic control, we'll have escorts for the barn as it moves along. Some people mentioned Becker Furniture World. You could see the first part of it. It's a good, safe place to be out of the way.
The hardware store?
True Value, yeah. There's several places. Maybe parking and walking would be the safest, and you might be able to get closer.
Are you allowing any pedestrians close up to the moving location, or you want everybody like on the north side of 10, just to?
We don't care where you go, because that'll be your choice. I'm guessing.
My wagon to the back.
I'm guessing some people will be at the site to see it. They'll probably get, a good site to see it being pulled in. Everybody's anxious to see a barn move, especially on Highway 10. Park somewhere else and walk would be probably less congestion.
We should clarify when we say Wednesday, we're not talking about tomorrow Wednesday, we're talking about
Next
week from
Wednesday.
So,
Yes,
okay.
yes. So,
Excellent. Thank you.
hey, we're good.
We'll see you out there so you can check us off.
Yep.
Maybe we could get the bus.
Yes. All right. Oak Savanna Project. Gina, thank you for coming in. You have a
Thank
little
you.
presentation. Thank
Yes,
you for putting
thank
it
you.
together.
Thank you, Mayor Bertram and City Council members. It's pretty tough to follow that, but it's a testament to what you can achieve if you dream big, that's for sure. So my name is Gina Hugo. I'm Sherburne County Parks Coordinator, and I appreciate your time tonight. I'd like to give a brief overview of a project that's going to be getting underway on the Oak Savanna Park this winter. It's funded with Clean Water Fund dollars. Project partners are Sherburne County, Sherburne Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Sherburne History Center. So the project is made possible through the Anoka Sand Plain Partnership, of which both the county and the SWCD actively participate. Last year, the ASP was awarded Outdoor Heritage Fund dollars for restoration and enhancement of habitat, and a project brought forward by the SWCD was included in that funding package, and it happens to be for Oak Savanna Park and the northern part of the History Center campus. So this project for me is a tremendous privilege professionally. I'm a conservationist first, and this project is a way to honor the conservation legacy of the landowners, Bill and Margaret Cox, and it's always been important to me that everything that's done on this land be respectful of their wishes. I was lucky enough to be able to meet them and visit with them and hear him quote Aldo Leopold, so that's near and dear to my heart. In fact, their mission and vision statement is the driving force behind this project. The mission to preserve the land as prairie and wooded area for the enjoyment of the community, and the vision that the land and nature's bounty should be celebrated and preserved without development, and that the site consists of native prairie, native trees and shrubs, wetlands, natural flora and fauna, areas favorable to wildlife, and areas that illustrate agriculture and plants of the past. In the intended use section of their land management plan, they give the directive to the county to do the type of work that this project will result in. Vegetative restoration based on recommendations and assistance of agencies knowledgeable in historic preservation, horticulture, and conservation of natural resources. It also stipulates that tree windrows will be maintained, windrows that were planted by the family to control erosion in response to the Dust Bowl. So with that, all the legacy pine that were planted with the hard work of the Cox family will be properly managed to preserve their family's conservation legacy. So, additional context to show the need for this project includes the things that we're trying to protect. On this map, you can see 2 endangered habitats cover the eastern half of the park. In the red is dry oak forest, in the yellow is dry barrens oak savanna. And the red hashing shows that both these areas are rated to have outstanding biodiversity. And translated, that just means the highest potential for plant diversity and the highest number of wildlife species supported. The project footprint covers 98 acres of the east half of the park, from the northern boundary all the way through the northern part of the History Center campus. The yellow and blue stripes are the extent of the outstanding biodiversity, and this is where we expect native plants to return from a native seed bank in the soil when the proper management is applied. The red stripes are an area that's been cultivated historically, so no native seed bank remains, and that's an area that we'll be planting to a native prairie mix that's appropriate to the Anoka Sand Plain ecological region, and that covers about 14 acres. So on the harvest details map, you can see that we have established 2 areas for special consideration. In the blue polygon along the north shore of Clitty Lake, and in the red polygon along a portion of the eastern border where it's obvious that a buffer with a different harvest prescription will be beneficial. So simply, the project objective is to restore fire-dependent plant communities to the disturbance that they evolved under. And this is what's going to preserve the plants of the past. Without disturbance, these plant communities will continue to be displaced, like we're seeing, by invasive species, and the wildlife species that depend on them will no longer be supported, and thus they'll start to disappear as well. So this photo is one that's taken at Bridgeview Park this year. Bridgeview is in Big Lake, and this is a park where we've been conducting similar management since the winter of 2008, and the results are really stunning and exciting. The picture in the left-hand corner is one I took yesterday, and it's the first bur oak seedling germinating naturally in the harvest area that I've seen since in 11 years, so that's incredibly validating and exciting. So. This is the current condition of Oak Savanna Park. It's a highly degraded, fire-dependent plant community where if fire were introduced now, would have pretty negative results. We have severe cedar encroachment choking out these amazing, majestic, ancient oak trees, allowing no light to the forest floor. And that means that tree regeneration is prevented. It's not just reduced, it's prevented. The only thing in that understory is poison ivy and buckthorn. So in the dry oak forest portion that you saw in the red, selective tree thinning will be conducted to achieve a canopy density slightly more open than what this picture shows. In the dry barren savanna area, selective harvest will be conducted to reduce the canopy by 2/3 to result in something like this, where only tree species native to that plant community will remain. Without the intervention that I just described, we're left with a dying forest, like you see in this picture, where there's no tree regeneration and no possibility of it, natural or otherwise. So the first 3 project activities listed, aggressive selective tree thinning, removal and treatment of invasive species, and prescribed burning, are all 3 necessary components to the proper management prescription, with the ultimate goal of restoring a sustainable system of forest regeneration naturally. We'll be conducting 2 prescribed burns in the remnant prairie openings kind of back to back to try and unlock the native seed bank in the soil that's indicated by a few select remnant species, like the yellow hoary puccoon in the picture. Oop. I just put an X on that. Okay. Prairie larkspur, porcupine grass and spiderwort and June grass, and pasque-flower. These pictures, incidentally, were taken where cedars were removed in 2016, and just by removing those cedars, we had this amazing bloom of pasque-flowers this spring. So it was astonishing. And the county really wants the public to be aware of this project and have an opportunity to ask questions before it begins. So my purpose in coming here tonight was to make you aware of it before community members know, so that if you're asked questions, you're in the loop. We'll also be hosting a public meeting on Thursday, October 17th, starting at 6:30 at the Sherburne History Center, where we really encourage anyone interested in Oak Savanna Park to attend, especially adjacent landowners and park users. So I really appreciate your time letting me come here tonight, and I'd certainly answer any questions you might have.
Cedars are not native to Minnesota?
They are, but they're not native to those plant communities.
Okay. Because they seem to be all over the place now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are. They're native with an invasive tendency. How's that?
Okay.
Thank you, Gina,
Okay.
for coming
Thank you.
out. All right, anyone else for guests in open forum this evening? Seeing none, we will go ahead and move on to committee reports. The Capital Investment Committee tour of the Becker Business Park, the House and the Senate both made their trips out here. One was on a Friday, Friday, September 6th, and then it was Tuesday, the 10th, was the Senate. So those went very well. Glad that we were able to get them out here and be able to be on that tour. EDA.
EDA, we met, let's see, previous Monday. I'm sorry, I don't have notes here. I totally spaced that.
Just wing it. What'd you do in
Okay.
EDA?
EDA, we, oh gosh, so,
Do you want me to come back?
yes, let's do
Okay.
that. I'm sorry, I apologize.
All right, so Public Works was canceled, as well as Joint Powers. Park and Recreation.
Parks and Recs. We talked about some new programs. They started a program they call the Fifth Quarter. And it's a program they started for after football games for the school kids. And I guess it's turning out to be quite a success. The water tanks for hot water have been replaced. And they had a little issue with it, but no extra cost. Barktoberfest is coming up on the 26th. And it's going to be in conjunction with Harvest Fest. Not going to be two different things anymore. And they're getting some estimates for the floor project for the, I guess in the main entryway, carpeting and tile. That'll be coming up. Had a little bit of a issue. The Colbinger Park was entered illegally, and they didn't destroy a whole bunch of stuff, but they did take the fire extinguisher and spray it all over in the kitchen area. So they got some major cleanup and a little bit of restoration to do.
We have cameras out there?
No, right. But anyway, they're working on some security issues, and Brent's not here, but anyway, Josh was going to talk to Brent and see what they can do. Just they're putting up signs for the walking path and bike path out City Park, so the two ways you can get there, like from where you live, how you can get there, and then from the north end, how they can get into the park. That's it.
Don't forget about the talk, you have to talk about the mayor's event.
It's there, I didn't mention it.
Sold out 40 plus.
Yeah.
Don't take any more reservations, but
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, and then,
Becky was there. I was.
isn't there one more part to that?
Yes, in October.
Cool one.
Yeah, that's,
Floating and floating fun.
yeah. Yeah, so,
You got to do that one.
and I missed the last one again, darn.
That's okay. I hope they do that cardio drumming again, like as a.
It was fun.
we tried to get in,
Class.
but they wouldn't sell us tickets. We both
Lies.
signed up late.
Sure.
Lies.
Yeah, that was sold
It
out.
was sold out, we tried.
Yeah. They've had really good turnouts for everything that they've been doing lately. It's nice to hear and nice to see.
All right, should we head back to E EDA?
Sure. And I can do LPI as well. We are today, but we'll start with EDA. So EDA, it was mainly updates. We talked a lot about the business parks, so the House and the Senate visits, just kind of updating the members on the projects there, and just some of the other projects, some of the other items that we EDA I don't think we had met for 2 months. So just kind of getting everybody into the loop there. So. Then also LPI, we met just today, and mainly the city updating LPI on the projects that are out in the industrial park right now. So,
Okay. Any other meetings that were skipped? All right, we'll move on to administrators and staff reports. So the 2019 Street and Trail Improvement Bid Award. Bill Zeiden.
Is it okay if I just close this?
No, I think Connie's going to use it.
Okay.
Right, Connie? She'll move it.
That's
How's
fine.
that?
I'll set that forward.
Oh, that's okay.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Bill Zeiden with SCH. I'll be here presenting the resolution 19-58 for the 2019 Street and Trail Improvement Bid Award. The bids were opened up yesterday, September 16th, for the project. The project includes the reconstruction of 3rd Street Trail along with some storm sewer improvements. And then the 3rd Street Trail is between Donnelly Street and Brenda Boulevard. We'll also be doing some reconstruction work between curb and gutter on Parkview Drive, between Sherburne Avenue and Forest Drive, which includes the cul-de-sacs of Northway Circle, Park Manor Circle, Frontier Circle, and Julia Lane. There will also be grading work on a pond located near Hole 9 on the Local 9 golf course to try to, but to eliminate the surcharging and stormwater issues that are on Parkview Drive. The work will be proposed to be conducted on off-season for the golf course, that way it doesn't disturb any golfing. The bids there were 7 bids total, ranging from Knife River's low bid at $977,406.60 to the high bid was $1,378,842.25. The engineer's estimate was $1,009,700. Staff's recommendation is to award the project to Knife River as they were the low bid. We've done work in the past in the city here with Knife River, and we have a very good relationship with them. Are there any questions about the project?
Do you know when they would start the project? Would that still be this year?
They are planning on, I talked to Knife River just before the meeting here, and they are planning on doing the tree removal, the clearing and grubbing along the 3rd Street Trail and the pond excavation this year. For the pond excavation, they're planning on stockpiling the material next to the pond, and then they'll remove it once the ground is frozen a little more, so to try to disturb as least as possible to any portion of the golf course.
The Parkview Drive and all of the cul-de-sacs, those would be completed next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Weather depending if there's time for them to get in this year, but he said most likely those will all be left till next year, next spring.
Yeah, if they would start something this year, they would have the pavement tore out and people would be driving on
Yes.
on road base, right?
It was also in the contract that anything that was started this year would have to be completed in the 2019 construction season. So that's why they're kind of, I guess, not really going to start everything because they'd be nervous about getting it done prior to freeze up. So they don't want to
Yeah.
risk anything.
Because I'd hate
open
to see
for
it.
for the winter.
I'm sure we would hear from people if they got to drive over.
Already did.
Yeah.
So, good, thank you.
All right, well then I'll be looking for the council approval of Resolution 1958.
I'll make that motion to approve Resolution 1958 for trail reconstruction, street construction, and drainage.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Call for public hearing for easement vacation for Lot 1, Block 2 of Energy Park 5th Edition. Ms.
Thank
Wilson.
you, Mayor and Council. So for reference, this is one of the city-owned lots that's currently out in the industrial park, kind of behind TJ Potter Trucking along that new cul-de-sac road. This property was originally platted years ago with this easement on it. Since then, we've determined that it's no longer needed and there's no utilities within it. Since we have interest in this property, we are looking at the easement vacation. With that, we're just asking for the city council to call for the public hearing. This would actually take place at the planning commission meeting in October, at the end of October on the 28th, and then it would come back to city council after that.
Is that going to be in quick enough time to have
Yes,
it?
yep.
I'll make a motion to call for a public hearing for an easement vacation on Lot 1, Block 2 of Energy Park 5th Edition to be held by Planning Commission on October 28th.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other questions? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thanks. Establish the 2020 preliminary levies. Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you'll just humor me for a minute. Presentation here. Okay, just for some background, back in March, staff started the whole budget process,
And we worked many hours getting the CIP complete and up to date. And then also with the diversity of some of the valuation changes that we've gone through, we've worked really hard to put a budget together. And as you know, you've put in many hours with meetings and, you know, getting our budget to the point where we're ready for this preliminary hearing tonight. And so I just wanted to kind of give you that background. And so we're at this point where we need to certify the preliminary levy to the county. And so by the 30th of September, state statute requires us to submit that preliminary levy. So after a short presentation, I'll be presenting Resolution 1956 to establish those preliminary levies. And at that point, when we do submit those preliminaries, we can shift things around, but we cannot go any higher with our levy. We can go lower and we can shift, but we can't go any higher. So just for your information. And so in our general fund, we have a 5.4% increase, and going on down the line, it's overall with all of our levies, we're at about a 3.64% increase from last year. And you can read the details with where each amount is with each fund. So we've got our general fund, our fire department, EDA, community center, Pebble Creek, debt service, and then our capital levy. Within our capital levies, the amount that adds up to that 1.691 million, we have the admin, EDA, levy, police, our streets, parks, community center, golf course, and as you recall, the land purchase to pay off those assessments on the shovel-ready lots. With our 2020 city and EDA local tax capacity rate, our city local tax capacity rate is calculated to be 40.706%, which is a 4% increase from 2019. And our EDA local tax capacity rate is calculated to be 0.888%, which is an 8.5% increase from 2019. And on this page, you'll just see where our property taxes were last year. And after consulting with the county, the average increase of residential values was 6%. So I did put those value increases in so you could see, compare the 2019 rate with the increase in market value, and then also our local tax capacity rate and what those amounts. So if you had a $200,000 home, last year it'd be worth $212,060, and then so forth. You can read what the tax for 2020 is compared to 2019. Any questions on that?
So it looks like it's just on the example that you provided with the increase in the market value, it's about $82, is that?
Correct, with the $200,000 home scenario, correct. If you were looking at like a $300,000 home, the difference would be $126. And that's, like I said, with the local tax capacity rate and that increase in market value. Any questions or? The next page is the commercial and industrial. Their market value increase was 4.5% from last year. And so again, I just put those scenarios in with the market values and then the change with the 4.5%. So a building worth $1 million last year would be worth $1,045,000. And the tax increase would be oh my goodness, I forgot my glasses, $486. As an example. And so tonight, Resolution 1956, setting the preliminary levies for the city and EDA is before you. Also on this resolution will be the public hearing, Truth and Taxation meeting set for December 3rd at 6 o'clock. And so if there's any questions, I can answer those for you. Otherwise, a motion and second for 1956 will be
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 1956, setting proposed property taxes levies for 2020 for the city of Becker.
A second.
Motion from Rick, motion from Troy, second from Rick. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Need a motion for the public hearing?
Nope, it was all tied into one.
All tied into one, okay.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, City Council, please take note, we've got a revised consent agenda this evening. Item number 1 is a hiring report form for the Becker Community Center. Item number 2, a hiring report form for Public Works. And item number 3, which is the revision, I should say, hiring report form for Pebble Creek Golf Club. So if you have any questions, a motion to adopt the consent agenda would be appreciated.
Motion to approve the revised consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any discussion on it? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Payment of the bills.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Motion from Troy, second from Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Does council have anything for the betterment of Becker? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You're adjourned, 6:36.